can you tell me where I could possibly get a nice steak or something nearby? I'm not local. And nonplussed, Jennifer just looks at me and goes, what are you doing? Stop. What is that coming out of your mouth? Stop. So I'm like, I've got a live one here. I'm going to put my hooks into her. So I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, isn't the accent? Do I need to slow down? Some people don't always understand it. I'm very, very sorry. She's like, no, stop. Wait, Deborah, come here, Deborah. Deborah comes over, joins her at the hip, and she's like, say something. And I'm like, hello, Deborah, how are you? To which her response is, no. No, if you were my boyfriend and you spoke like that to anybody else, I would kick your ass. My other favorite, and this is kind of a downer story, so but how many people here are fans of Steins Gate? I know there was a couple, right? Awesome, the rest of you suck. Steins Gate is one of those experiences where it was really intense because not only was I the lead actor and the main character talks constantly, so part of us born to play, right? But I was also the lead writer on the adaptive script, so I was in the booth 8 hours a day, voicing him, and then at home 5 hours every day after that, voicing him at home in front of my computer writing lines. And it's an emotionally intense show. And there's a scene about halfway through, I won't give too much away basically, where he just has a mental breakdown and he's crying and screaming, and it's just the situation he's in is unbelievably raw and just heart-wrenching. And writing the scene a few weeks before it hit the booth, I was crying at home in front of my computer like a blubbering idiot. Oh my God, I do not envy the guy that has to do this scene. Oh, it's me. So a couple weeks later, we actually do the scene, and because I hadn't had any sort of mental space to get away from this character, because it was 8 hours and then 5 hours every day, wash, rinse, repeat, I went in the booth, and in the scene, just the line that separates me and Okabe, that's the character's name, just completely disappeared, and I had a real mental breakdown crying while I was saying the lines, and it scared my director, the lovely Colleen Klinkenbeard, who was like, you need to step out now and find Michael again, because this is a little scary, and I'm like, I know. I mean, it was a mess. So I go and I splash some water on my face, I walk around the studio for a little while, just kind of trying to, find me again. Go back in the booth, ready to do a second take, because I'm like, there's no way they're going to use that. She's like, actually, if you're okay with it, it sounds great, we're going to use it. So I didn't have to do the scene again. And if you ever want to hear me actually having a mental breakdown in the booth, episode 13 of Steins Gate, everyone go, check out the... Those are my two favorites. Another question, let's see, you, Doctor.
Alright, I have a question for each of you. So, I know you're a massive movie fan. And I don't think about Surrey asked what your opinion was of the John Hurt episode. So how did you react when the Doctor was interviewed?
Which time?
11.
Okay, I have very complicated feelings about the Doctor and all the way they did it. I thought it was really cool because it was new, it's something they hadn't done before. It was so shocking that suddenly, oh my God, new Doctor, crap! Oh wow! And I love Matt Smith, so it was really heartbreaking to see him go, and I thought it was a fitting end. But it was shocking. It was shocking. I was not prepared for it to be shocking. Usually it's much more, like they prepare you for a good 20 minutes of the episode. For the original, like David Tennant, you're crying for 3 hours. Before he finally says, I'm not ready to go. And Matt Smith is like, which I thought was actually very clever because it was unexpected and they were taking the show in a new direction. So I'm like, I'm mad at you, but God, that was cool. So, yeah. Right. And you have a question for me?
Yes.
What did you think about the Doctor Who regeneration?
What's one thing that you severely nerd out? So obviously you get these Doctor Who, so what's your nerd thing?
My nerd thing is got to be Downton Abbey. I love the show. I love Coulson. I love watching these characters, and it's so in depth. There's so much going on in it. It's just one thing that I completely nerd out. Great show.
I haven't seen it. I want to. I feel like it's made for me.
It is. You would love it.
So it's not an Netflix.
Yes.
Yeah,
it's that good.
All 4 seasons.
You have to get through the first episode. The first episode, that's why I bawled, because I pulled all my hair out trying to understand what they were saying in the first episode. But after you get through the first episode, you're hooked.
I think it was two versions.
Yes. From the accents, because their accents are so fantastic.
Okay, I just got back from Sunderland in northern England, And I thought I knew British accents. Oh my gosh. I spent the whole time going, what? Can you say that again? Seriously, we're all really lovely, but the accent was so thick and kind of tinted with Scottish because it's kind of close to Scotland that they're all like, can't follow. What do you think I'm saying when I say that? Can't follow. Can I have a photo? I'm like, all I'm hearing is a single diphthong. How is that a word? How is that a what? How are you doing that? But yeah, it was crazy. So I love bring on the British accents though. I feel after being in Sunderland for like 5 days, I can understand anyone ever.
I'm just impressed that you even know what a diphthong is.
I know what a diphthong is because my boyfriend told me. Diphthong? What's a diphthong? Is that like a bathing suit? What is that? He's like, no, let me show you. He's a linguist and speaks like 1,800 different languages, and it's crazy. It's 5 languages, right? I'm exaggerating, but still, it's a lot of languages. And he's there with a red face. Oh, you're talking about me. He's adorable, isn't he? I know. Another question? You, man with the glasses.
What is this for both of you? What is one of the weirdest and the funniest moments you've had at a Comic-Con ever?
If you need time to think about it, I have a story. Okay. I'm not going to say which con, because I honestly don't remember. But it was a good con. It wasn't a con. Like, this wasn't... And let me preface this by saying I have a pretty high threshold for weird. Because I'm a pretty weird guy. So, like, if someone were to come up to me and be like, would you sign my wisdom tooth or something? I'd be like, okay. But I was at a con, and it's back when I used to smoke. I don't anymore. It's a filthy habit. If you smoke, please stop. Do yourself a favor. But I was outside getting some fresh air, and I was with another voice actor whose name I will leave out of this in case he doesn't want me to tell this story. And out of the night, not even from the convention, but out of the night, like some kind of creature, steps this like 100-year-old woman dressed in a very inappropriate outfit. Just smoking a Virginia Slim with a voice like Harvey Picar, like on steroids. And she comes up and she's got this corset on, and it's a lovely corset, but she looks so freaky in it because she's like 1,000 years old. And it's like, you get the feeling that if you were to untie this corset, she would just blow away to dust. And so it's just terribly awkward. I'm like, Grandma, you can't help but think, oh, this poor woman has no friends. Because somebody would have been like, no, Gretchen, you cannot wear that. Gretchen, honey, you're 60 years too old for that outfit. And so she comes up, and she's just like got this quality to her. I'm like, we're about to get solicited. That's what this is. That's what this is. And she just comes up and she explains that she would like me and this other voice actor to sign her corset. Now her corset is black leather, gorgeous, but she wants us to sign it in black so it won't show up. And when I point this out, Captain Obvious, she goes, oh honey, it's all right. I have hundreds of signatures. No one can see them, but I'm the only one that knows they're there. So we sign it to keep from being murdered. And as we're like on our hands, or on our knees rather, signing this corset, let me just say she really enjoyed this whole process more than I was comfortable with. And in the middle of just kind of standing there enjoying, just basking in whatever the hell was going through her mind, she farted. She's just like, oh yeah. And we're like, you never know what that feels like to be down there going, we have to get on our feet immediately. We are at ground zero. We have to, I don't want to be here when this thing gets to my eye level. No. Because she wasn't owning it at all. She wasn't like, oh, excuse me, I'm sorry. She just like, nope, I'm just going to let you deal with that on your own. So we got up, handed her, like holding her breath, handed her the corset. She smoked one more puff on her gigantic Virginia Slim and said, thank you, gentlemen. Y'all have a good night. And back into the darkness she went. I'm convinced she's going to appear again right before I die. I definitely don't have a story as good as that. I have one. We were actually at this convention together. I don't know if you saw this happen or not.
I actually had a kid want to beat me up at a con because at the street con. So literally, I'm standing in the VIP section where the attendees can pay and get a special pass and come and have drinks with the actors. Well, I go in and this kid's looking into me. He's like, "Who are you?" And you can just tell he's already 3 sheets to the wind. And I'm like, "Well, my name's Dave Vincent." And he's like, "What have you been in?" I'm like, "Well, I didn't listen off a few things." He's like, "I don't know that. I don't know that either." And so I have to mention something that he was a huge fan of. So the guy literally loses it, and he's like, "Oh my God! Can I have a picture with you?" And I'm like, "Absolutely. Come on over here, let's get a picture together." And Travis Willingham is another voice actor. And he's standing over there, yes. Large man is standing next to me, and I go, "Hey Trav, why don't you get in the picture with us?" And so Travis comes over, and this kid is in between. Meanwhile, this kid weighs probably about 20, wet. Okay, and is about this tall. So he's standing between Travis and me, who are 2 big guys. And Travis happened to be wearing a similar pair of shoes as I was wearing. And I said, "Hey, nice kicks, Trav." And the kid thought that I was insulting him. And so you can picture this little pipsqueak literally like getting ready to throw down with me. And Travis looks at him and he goes, "How much have you drank?" And he's like, "Oh, I ate." And he goes, "And you've had enough." And like, thank God, man. So I almost got beat up at a convention. By Scrappy Doo, exactly.
Oh my God, I'm sorry, I have this really quick one. I just thought of this happened really recently. I was in the lobby of a hotel and all these people came up and were like, "Oh my God, you're Sebastian." So they're like, "Do the Sebastian voice." And I'm like, "So hello, how are you?" Well, their very, very drunk friend came up to them and was like, "Come on guys, we gotta go to the masquerade. It's starting!" And so like, dude, this is the guy. He does like Black Butler. He does Sebastian. He's like, "What? Do it." "Hello, how are you?" I'm simply one head of a butler, blah, 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 blah. He goes, "Dude, that's pretty awesome. You're actually better than the guy that got to do it in the dubs." And I'm all, "Thank you." But then the best part, his friends were like, "Dude, he is the one that does it in the dubs." And he's like, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry." And he wants me to sign stuff. "Can you sign this? Can you sign this?" And I'm like, "Sure. Sorry for sucking." There you go. Let's go with Sebastian.
Hi. What is the weirdest thing you ever got from a fan? And when you end up recording, do you get boost loopy?
Do you get what? Booth loopy? Oh yeah, absolutely get booth loopy, especially if you've been in there longer than 3-4 hours. Then you just start going, you start losing it. I don't know, does Funimation, and do they keep you in the booth longer than 4 hours?
Sometimes.
Okay. In LA, they typically will limit our sessions to no more than 4 hours. So yeah, to answer your question, absolutely, totally loopy if you've been in there for a while. What was the first question?
What's the weirdest thing a fan's ever got?
Weirdest thing that a fan has ever given me. Stuff that they've given me has all been pretty awesome. I'll say the weirdest thing that I've ever had to sign. And this is hard to do because we sign weird stuff all the time. But I signed a bowl of spaghetti. The guy, honestly, he's like, no, it was a plastic to-go container with spaghetti in it. And he's like, "David, I need you to sign this for me. I'm sorry. Whatever it is. I'll sign it except for the first crowd." It was an inside joke, I guess, so.
I love how there's got to be a story behind that. Like,
Don't even ask. I have to do this, or the sorority won't let me in. Or fraternity, whatever. Yes, I get booth loopy all the time. Particularly, like I said, when you have like mental breakdowns, and they're like, "Actually, we can use that." And I'm like, and for me, it's about 3 hours. After 3 hours, I go from like professional to. One day I was recording on Black Butler, and "Goodbye, ladies. Have fun. Make good choices." And I just was trying to mess with Ian Sinclair, my dear friend, who's Bard and also the show's director. There's a big wall of glass between he and I. And I had come to the studio that day wearing a pair of silk boxers with little skulls on them because they seemed appropriate. And it was like season 2, so I was like, oh, this will be great. It was like the first recording session of season 2. So I come in the booth and I've got these things on, and Ian is being so serious that day that I decided, well, I'm just going to take my pants off and stand here in my boxers. It took him 2 hours to notice. And I finally had to leave the booth and like, Ian, can I just go to the bathroom real quick, make a quick pit stop? He's like, yeah, sure. I walked right by him with nothing but boxers on, and walked right back, and he only it was 30 minutes after that he's like, Mr. Tatum? Yes? Yes, Ian, they're boxer shorts. Why did you? I've been wearing them for like 4 hours. Yeah, so that's loopy. That's booth loopy. Weirdest thing a fan's ever got me? It's unusual. I mean, I don't get like weird stuff. I think the weirdest stuff is when people like give me their phone numbers and they're like, "Hey, call me," and I'm like, yeah, because I'm always like, a lot of people like on Facebook, especially back in the day, like you'd have these really young people, like 12, they don't really understand how it works. They're like, "Oh my God, you're Jim Uncle Tatum. Here's my address and phone number. Send me an autograph." I'm like, please don't give your number and information out to people on Facebook that you don't know if they're really me. So I'm like, don't do that. Just write to Funimation and they'll take care of it. So yeah, stuff like that. I mean, no one's ever like given me something really, really weird. I mean, I've gotten some pretty cool stuff, like a ninja cake made out of cupcakes in the shape of a little pixelated ninja, which was like really cool. And they were all black icing cupcakes, so all of us were like, dead afterwards. More sugar. But yeah, I guess that's it for weird stuff. Who is you, darling, with the wonderful thing, the red and the gold? Yes, you.
So, you have a very intricate and very interesting personality. So of course your current career actually does fit you. But let's say
I like you.
I liked you from when you said Iron Man would beat Batman and fight him. So like I was kind of heading towards this. If the voice acting thing would have never kicked off, I mean, God forbid, what would you ever see yourself doing? Because I don't see you working a 9-to-5 job in a cubicle. I think you'd go crazy. So.
I did that for a while. I did go crazy. I probably would have been one of two things. I would have been like either a composer pianist, because I actually studied music at conservatory for a while, and I've been playing piano since I was like 6. I'm a total classical music nerd. That's along with Doctor Who and like literature. That's like one of my chief like nerd passions is that kind of stuff. So I'd either be like a pianist or a composer or something. Like I would love to compose music for video games or movies or something, because I just think that kind of stuff is really, really fun. I do compose frequently, but just for me, just to do it. Or I'd have been an architect. I really, really had a passion for architecture too, and studied it for a while, just like on my own. And then when I was like, it takes 7 years to be licensed to be an intern for an architecture firm. Nope. So yeah, or a criminal. I think I'd make a really good mob boss. Actually, I'd be terrible mob boss. That'd be so nice. I'd be like, okay, you're missing the point. We're supposed to like frighten these people into paying us money, but they're so nice. I'd make a terrible criminal. What about you? What would you be doing?
Rocket scientist. No, I'm kidding. No. You guys actually like believed it.
Rocket surgery.
Yeah. No, you know what? I would probably be in the industry still, but just behind the camera, producing, directing, things like that. I produce now, so I would probably still be in the industry if I wasn't acting. I would be producing and directing and writing.
Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yeah, go ahead.
How often do you get bombarded by fangirls?
Can you say that again?
How often do you get bombarded by fangirls in public?
How often do we get bombarded by fangirls in public?
Never. No. Not outside of the convention scene. Yeah, outside of the convention scene, not very often, unless somebody happens to be a fan of your work and they find out who you are and what you do for a living. And yeah, I was at a work retreat with my wife, and one of her colleagues had no idea who I was, and then she found out and proceeded to gush and sweet. Because she was a huge Grimjow fan, so yeah, not very often.
I've only had like one or two occasions where I'll be in public and like say the barista at Starbucks is like, "Are you J. Michael Tatum?" And it's weird because I'm not in con mode, and I'm actually a very shy and like private person in like the real world, which is just my mode. It's like my default mode, right? Kind of the appeal of acting is I get to have an excuse to get out of that occasionally. But when I'm on my own and someone's like, "You're J. Michael Tatum," like here I'm like, "Yeah, hey, nice to meet you. Let me sign something. I want to hug a picture." And they're like at Starbucks, I'm like, "How do you know who I am?" Like, but it's happened. It's weird though when it happens. I was in a mall a year ago, and it was in the mall in my hometown, and so I was just walking around, just buying some clothes and stuff, and this kid and his friend see me. He's like, "Oh my God, J. Michael Tatum." I'm like, "Whoa, hey, hi." I mean, I looked like hell. I just like was wearing sweats and like a t-shirt, so I was like just like totally. I'm like, "Oh, Ethan, I want a picture," and I look like, hey, I look like I just woke up from under an overpass. And so like he's talking to me, and so his friends gather around me, and they want pictures and stuff, and that was cool. But all these other people were like walking around seeing this phenomenon, and now thought, "Oh, who is this guy?" And it's weird when you have to explain to people who want to know why you're famous that you're not famous to them. You're like, "What have you done?" "Nothing you know about. Go on." I think they think I'm Ben Affleck. It's just, I'm just humoring them. Whatever, because they're like, "Why is this man hanging out with our teenage sons and like getting pictures? That's weird." I'm like, I don't know. But it's unusual from time to time. It doesn't happen very often, thank God, because I think I would just, I don't know, I wouldn't deal with it well.
I'll tell you a funny story, because it's true. I mean, most of the time,